You want the facts? We want to share them with you. Together, we'll boldly unpack the deeper truths inside the real estate industry's most relevant issues. This is Getting Real with Rob. Here's your host, Rob Namfelt.
Welcome to today's episode of Getting Real with Rob. Today's guest is Lee Allen, current president, El Presidente of Canopy Realtor Association. Welcome, Lee.
Oh, it's good to be here, Rob. You've got the voice for radio.
And the really, face for it, too.
Exactly. It's good stuff, man.
Well, thanks for being here today. Let's get to know Lee a little bit. He is quite the adventurer. I don't know that we have all the time to go through all the stories, but what's your most recent exciting adventure that folks would want to know about?
That's a good question.
San Francisco Bay is one.
Yeah, that's good. The last triathlon I did, and I've done over 100, right? I've done over 13 Ironman. But the last triathlon I did, and it was a bucket race for me, was Escape from Alcatraz. It's so bad. Eh?
How was the swimming on that?
So here's what the swim looks like, Rob. Yeah, go ahead, strap in. Here we go. I want you to go home tonight. Our listeners can go home tonight and do the following. Fill up your wash machine, the old Maytag. Fill it up with water all the way to the top. Throw in a 10-pound bag of ice for the pleasure of it. Hop in. And then start the wash cycle and just hold on. It's the most unique swim I've ever had. It's a brack ocean water. It's really what it is. It's a bay. Yeah, they take you out on a boat, you and your 2,000 of your other closest friends at the time, and they tell you to jump. Seriously, at Alcatraz Island, you jump off the boat, and boys, I want y'all to swim all the way back in there. And the advice they give, it's a mandatory race meeting a day or two before, and they say, your goal is not to finish this race. Your goal is to swim across the river. So there are typically 100 to 150 folks that they fish out of the bay as they're headed out underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. So my job was to swim across that river. And there's no rhythm in the water. It's nothing but current. It's about 58-degree water temperature. Sometimes it's foggy. Sometimes it's not. It's challenging to say the least.
How did you do in terms of your outcome? Did you meet your goals?
So age group for me, I was in the top 10% of my age group, which is always sort of a goal. And that's a bucket list race for a lot of folks. And folks travel from all over the world to race there. So it's a lot of fun. Most technical bike I've ever ridden. That run is an 8-mile run, and it has everything. It has asphalt. It has a single track trail. It has a beach, sandy. It has it's got everything. That run will kick you in the teeth. It'll kick you in the butt, and then it'll kick you in the privates just for the fun of it.
Speaking of which,
okay.
Our listeners are dying to know why. Why do you do these things?
Why would someone go put themselves through that? The story goes all the way back about 15 years ago, and I'm a 5'8". If you're looking, if you're seeing me play basketball, you'd see
point
me
guard,
5'8" shooting guard, who's really 5'6". Okay, so let's be honest. And on that 5'6" frame, I was putting on about 4 pounds a year. Just extra pounds, just through the years. And by that time, this is about 15 years ago, my doctor, who's my primary doctor, really good friend, said, do you plan on weighing 200 pounds by the time you get to like 45? And I went, shoot, no, doc. I weigh 190, 196 now, but I'm not. He goes, well, 4 pounds a year, every year. It's going to be there pretty soon. So I got real motivated. Decided, I came home and told my wife I was going to go run a marathon. I'm not making this crap up. And she says, okay, well, just have fun with that. She had no idea the monster that it was producing. So the very first marathon was the Charlotte Observer Marathon. That was way back when they would run the course here from Davidson College. It was college then, Davidson College to Queens. And that's the course. It was point to point. Davidson, drop you off. You run down all the way down. You come into downtown. You run back through. You run Queens. Unbeknownst to me, the first marathon was 34 degrees and driving rain.
Oh, geez.
And so, exactly. And so I said, well, if I can do that, and I ran it like 4:15, right? So I just
4:15 for your first?
Yeah, for my first. So I said, okay. And I went, wow, maybe I could break 4. So I ran like 4 marathons in the next year, right? I just started training, broke 4. I said, well, maybe 3:45. Do that. Got to Chicago, ran 3:30.
Wow.
And then I said, okay, I'm only 10 minutes away. At the time, I was only 10 minutes away from qualifying from Boston. Okay, let's do that. So it took me about 4 years to knock off that last 10 minutes to get to qualify for Boston. But that was a good day.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Day. And so in the meantime, all those miles start adding up and you start thinking, I might need to cross this with something else. Let's throw some swimming in. Let's do some biking. And so I got really good at biking. Swim. People ask, why do you do the swim? Because it's the first of 3 events. You do it because they won't tell you it's not a triathlon if you don't swim. So there you go.
Yeah, I think I know that from personal experience.
Yeah.
I tried to do some swimming earlier this summer, and I think I forgot how to swim.
It's tough.
Yeah.
The swim coach, my swim coach says, to get faster, you need to slow down. So it's
good advice.
It is. It's on our runs, we just increase the cadence, maybe get the stride length a little longer. On the bike, we just work on all that core strength, and that gets us a little bit quicker, maybe get a little more aero. On the swim, it's reach, it's catch, it's pull, it's finish the stroke, and it's all mental.
Well, the good news for our listeners is that Lee is going to start moonlighting as a personal trainer. I will act as his agent. I'll take my cut. But,
I like it.
So let's transition a little, Lee, from your kind of some of your personal interests to your professional. You decided to run for Canopy president.
Sure.
A couple times.
Yep.
This time it stuck.
They did.
Why?
Yeah, no, and I love
seems like
that.
a lot of time.
It is. It's a sacrifice. I had the opportunity of speaking to Leadership Academy here at Canopy Realtor Association just last week. We talked about that, and the number one thing when you go to call someone and say, hey, I'd love to see if you would run for an office, if you would be willing to serve, is that I learn I love busy people, because busy people are really efficient. I mean, they're really efficient. They'll figure it out. Okay, I'm going to need to work a little smarter. Might not watch Netflix. And so the big thing, you ask a great question and you say, why would you do this? And I think my number one motivation is to whom much is given, much is required. That being said, real estate's been really great to me. I've had a great opportunity to buy property, to help folks move from, where they are now. So I would say where they are now to their desired state, and watch that change. And it will change families. And you meet folks in such interesting places. Folks are upsizing, downsizing. My in-laws, we had the opportunity of help caring for them for about the last 6 years of their lives. And so they lived with us. I know what it was like to have 3 generations in a house, and those needs that you have to have. And how do you all keep your sanity and everything else without being codependent and still survive and still sell? But I really just love the mission of what we do here. For the longest time, our vision, as you know, was to educate and equip our members to be successful. And as I came on, I was really struck with Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek. I'm a really big fan of Pat Lencioni. I'm a crazy reader. I do about a book a month, just trying to learn stuff. And we drove back to why do realtors exist? And I think I had an opportunity of speaking at a panel just maybe 3 weeks ago. And I told all those new practitioners, I asked in the room, how many of you guys, there were 300 people in the room, how many have you been in the real estate profession 15 years or longer? I don't like that many people. There were 4 hands, and I was one of them. I was like, holy cranky. And then I said, I just got to ask, how many are 5 years or under? 2/3 of the room. And I said, all right, every single one of you need to go home tonight and to know your why. Why do you get up in the morning, haul and hope, show and tell, pray, all that kind of stuff? Why do you do that? Because in this market, I've told buyers they have to have thick skin. I think agents have to have thick skin too. And you have to realize, hey, I'm doing this because I want to see my community get better, right? And that's why we exist. We were able to repurpose our why for Canopy as to advance the profession and improve communities. And I think it's a lot like chicken and egg, that they literally do go hand in hand. When realtors really come alongside and help improve, right, make their profession better, they in turn improve their own communities. And everybody's community is different. That's what I love about it. I'm a redneck from Randolph County, man, right? You kidding me? I didn't grow up in a big urban city center, but man, I get a little happy if I go down South End on Saturday morning and you go to the farmer's market, you got all these things to do, and it's just great. And I love seeing people be able to go from where they are to where they want to go, and you help them achieve those dreams.
I love that, Lee. I love that vision. So we're 8 months. Well, we're in month 8.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
For of your term.
We are.
How do you feel? How are things going?
Yeah, I love it. I think we have our own challenges. I think that happens with every president. Every president gets their opportunity to make their mark by service. And I've often thought this position as a custodian, and that's my mentality when I come into this, which is I don't really want to be up front. I really don't. I don't want to be up front. I don't mind being out back with a mop and cleaning up stuff if I have to, or doing this or doing that. But what's great is I'm doing my job is if folks come along and they don't know there's any problems. Right. I mean, you know, a good custodian's taking care of a building and taking care of you or something. And you're just like, I can go do what I need to go do.
Well, and I'll tell you, as having been in one of your earlier meetings when you started, because my role with Rebic and also, handling government affairs for the realtors, one of the things you said that made an impact on me was, I will never ask you all to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself.
Sure.
Here 8-9 months later, I still remember that.
Yeah.
And I think about that every time I see you. So.
Yeah, that's just, I think that's the way I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. And so it was, it was mostly manufacturing. So that's just sort of my background. I love to make things. And so the idea was, I'll never ask someone, I grew up cleaning the bathrooms. I grew up sweeping the floors. I grew up doing all that. I'm not above that. I do what I got to do to help get us somewhere else. And I think I've had opportunities of coaching other business owners. And one of the things is helping everyone in the organization see their contribution to the overall good. And I think that's huge, right? You say, oh, well, the guy in sales, he's the guy that's really killing it because he's the one that's bringing all the stuff. Well, guess what? If the accounting folks aren't processing payables and receivables, the guy in the sales won't have a job next month, right? Everybody contributes to that whole thing. You just have to know where that is. And then you have to get up and say, hey, I do this because we exist for realtors to advance the profession and improve our communities.
Oh. Well, and obviously realtors play a huge role in the real estate market and the real estate industry. And Rebic, we are made up of sort of the broad swath of interest in the industry. Can you tell us a little bit about, you've been involved with Rebic now for a couple of years. You served on the executive committee a couple of years ago. Tell us about your interaction, kind of what you think Rebic's role truly is. I mean, we talk about, since I've come on, I've the community idea, building the community, and the fact that we are all part of that is really important to me personally. And also I want to kind of make that imprint on the organization. Can you talk to that a little bit?
It's interesting because I think it's probably maybe one of the top things that our realtor members have no idea about. Personally, that was the way it was for me 6 years ago. And I was like, Rebic, real estate, the building industry coalition. Okay. And you try to figure it out. But once you get involved, once you get plugged in, you start realizing, man, we're busy building bridges. I think Rebic really serves, this is one thing that just stands out for me. Frederick Douglass was quoted as saying, I'll partner with anyone for good and no one to do evil. And I think Rebic stands as a perfect example of how we'll go, hey, look, wow, we don't agree on this, and this, but man, do we agree that we need this and we need this in our community? Can we partner with them to do that. I mean, we at least moved the needle that way.
Right.
I saw that at Legislative Day when we were in Raleigh a month or so ago. And we're crossing the aisles. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. It doesn't really matter. You're like, what can we do together to improve our communities? And that's where our coalition comes along and says, look, we all think we know what the future looks like. If we can all agree on what the future looks like, how we get there, we're probably going to disagree on. But we can find some commonality. We can come along together and let's do this.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's right. That's absolutely right. So moving forward, your term is going to end at the end of the year.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
We still want to have you involved in Rebic to the extent you're willing to spend that time.
I'm like a bad penny. I keep coming around, keep turning over.
Either way, I'm going to compete with you at Strides for Shelter every year.
Consider it done. Consider that done. The challenge is taken. I did tweak my foot when I was surfing over the weekend, and I'm having to on the bike, and I'm having to swim right now. So I'm like, okay, I got to get back on that road though, because I got to get those. I'm doing 4x800s, Rob. I'm trying to see what I can do to get that tempo down to be competitive.
That race isn't until October 22nd.
It's cross country season, man. Yeah. I got plenty of time.
Any listeners, you can still sign up. There's still room. I will tell you that this year I am going to break the 24-minute mark.
Okay.
I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, I don't think I will break my PR for that, but I could probably work back down near the 24-minute mark. And I would like to at least be breathing down your neck. And rather than you get completely out of sight, I could just at least see you. I have learned this. If I can see you, I can catch you.
I think I've seen that in real life. All right, Lee, is there anything that we didn't touch on you'd really like to a message you'd like to send to the listeners, knowing that they're from all a broad spectrum of real estate?
Yeah. And that's what's interesting is what I love about Rebic is it finds a way to bridge commercial, residential, industrial, warehouse. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. We all have different, I'm going to call it angles, maybe to get to the same thing. And we all want to do that. We all want to see our communities get better. Rebic stands not in the way, but as a part or a facilitator to see that occur. And the best way to help make that is to plug in. It's the 2 for Tuesday stuff that you're right. It's staying on top of the information that you're passing out and keeping us informed. It's when we look at your calendar on your website, which is kick-tail right now, Rob. Thank you. That's a great improvement, is that you can go to your calendar and say, oh, there's this county commissioner meeting. There's this particular hearing board thing. There's this planning and zoning. And I can find out, well, I should probably go. I mean, I know it's Tuesday night. It's 7:00. Turn Netflix off and just go be a part. And you start to learn, hey, these are what the thoughts and the processes are about giving input. We don't know what we don't know. And unless we're willing to learn, and where Rebic, I think, stands there to help educate us.
No, that's great. I appreciate the calendar.
That's great stuff, man.
That's good. I will tell you, we do prefer when folks are willing to go and actually go to the meetings. Yeah. But a lot of that stuff you can watch online from the comfort of your own couch.
I'm an old guy. Remember, I'm an old dude. Hey, any of our listeners know I'm in a different age group than Rob. So I should get at least.
Barely. Come on.
I should get a little bit of a throw up, a little bit of plus or minus a minute or two.
Well, Lee, thank you so much for giving of your time today. We very much appreciate it. We will see you next time on Getting Real with Rob.
Thank you for listening to Getting Real with Rob. This podcast is produced by the Real Estate and Building Industry Coalition in Charlotte, North Carolina. Learn more about us at Rebic.com. That's REBIC.com. We'll talk to you next time.